Greetings. Welcome to whatever time and space you're in. I'm in the mid morning in springtime, and I live in the Pacific Northwest of the United States on a small island, uh, which has sort of a beautiful community and ecosystem. And I am enjoying kind of a cold day, hoping that the sun will come out. I hope that you are able to sort of settle in and notice what kind of day you're having and where you're at. Maybe check in with the season and the weather. Right now, I'm in the new moon of the rose moon. And the rose moon is, I'll just be honest, it's my favorite moon. I live in a field of rose bushes. All the roses come out, the wild roses. I spend a lot of time sort of with them creatively and etc. But this new moon time can be a time of rest, a time of beginning, a time to start planning and dreaming. I think sometimes a schedule is so great. Like we get into a swing of sort of managing ourselves, of setting up what we're doing when. But I seek to plan so that spontaneity can happen, so that there's a little bit of space for the serendipitous to emerge. And having said that, sometimes taking it slow or doing less, having a little bit less of a plan can actually allow us to create from a different standpoint. A lot of people work with moon magic and they work here at the beginning of the month with planning, making a schedule, doing all that stuff. I get you. Me too. Keep doing that. Don't feel like I'm telling you to abandon. The idea here is in this practice, we might just leave a little space for there not to be an answer, for there not to be something scheduled. It's almost like we're scheduling loosely structured free time so that we have a little space to dream. Note that sometimes that's awkward. You sort of noodle around and nothing happens, kind of the tantamount of writer's block, right? It doesn't feel quite as effective. And sometimes that gives us space really to dream and to open and be creative. So I encourage you, even if you don't really think of yourself as creative, remember that every inhale you take creates reality, every exhale you create destroys it and makes the opportunity to create it again. And that's all really that we're doing. And you can do that, right? You're doing it right now. All right. My name is Alyssa. I use they, them pronouns. You're welcome to ignore all of that. It's not for you and do the physical practice from whatever point of view makes sense for you. I ask only that your goals be authentic and kind for yourself as much as your current state of being and point of view will allow you. All right. Let's begin. I'm going to head back to my mat, take my cup of coffee with me. You're welcome to start in any position you like. I'm going to suggest that we address the knees a little bit today, so I'm going to start in a seated position. You might sit up on something. I like to begin with 3 rounds of the seed sound of Om to acknowledge the great and incredible history of metaphysics and yoga, of waking up from conditioned existence. Om is a secular chant. It acknowledges the interconnection between all things, and it's okay not to do it, to sit or stand in presence instead. Many good reasons not to make that resonant vibration. You might just consider the concept, the idea, let it resonate with you, as it were. As you sit up, take a moment to relax your face, your shoulders, to make sure your hands are in relative neutral. To prepare the channel of your body, take a big deep inhale in through your nose. And open your mouth to exhale, HA. Inhale, prepare for Om. Begin to breathe slow in and out through your nose. Maybe as slow or aiming for as slow as the breaths before chanting the Om. This is ujjayi pranayama. It means upward liberating breath. And breathe in 3 dimensions in your rib cage, in your belly, in your back, and your chest. You're always welcome to make the fogging of the mirror sound with your mouth, or to breathe in any way that makes sense for you. Ujjayi is classical. And we practice krama vinyasa, which means sort of the karma, fate, or direction of the breath. We prioritize breathing over our other more cerebral plans. And we follow the pattern of the breath through the actions of the body. All right. Your next inhale, flutter your eyes open if you haven't already. On your next exhale, come forward. Let's begin in a hands and knees position, a tabletop shape. And if this shape is not for you, you could always make it a little longer so your knees have less pressure. You could always fold over your mat. I happen to be on some carpet, so I don't need knee padding, but I usually do. Another trick is to slide one of those pads underneath a section of your mat so your knees can rest, or a blanket there. Once you find your place for spinal undulations, inhale, cow shape, lift your chin and tail. Exhale, cat shape, draw your navel in, tuck your chin and tail. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Now with the flexion in the wrist is a lot. You could also take more distance, right? So now I don't have to fold the front of my wrist as much. You could also choose to make your hands into fists. Or again, remove load bearing in cow and cat from a different position. Continuing with your breath. And the next time you're in neutral, and we're going to stay in a little bit of a back bend, a neutral space. Let your ribs hang and go side to side. So you can inhale, look over your right shoulder, squeeze your right hip towards your right ear. And exhale, look to the left, squeeze your left hip towards your left shoulder, look over your left ear. Inhale through center. Exhale to the right. And inhale through center. Exhale to the left. I prefer the inhale to lengthen, which you could also go direct from side to side, inhaling and exhaling. And again, if you're sitting up, you can do this going side to side or with hands on hips. Be mindful with your neck in these actions. No need to go too far too fast. Or to crank the end of the rope, which is your neck, as it were. Use an exhale to return to center. And inhale your right arm out and up, reaching up. Exhale to circle it back and plant it down underneath your shoulder. Inhale to take your left arm up. Exhale to take it back and down. And do that. And you can add going forward to make a full circle with your shoulder. Or you can go straight out and up if that angle felt good. And the next time your left arm is going up, use the exhale to thread the needle underneath and behind your right wrist. You can always add padding, lay down on a pillow. You can do this at a wall if you'd prefer with an upright stance. Think about if you flipped your screen sideways, right, and the floor was a wall. If you're down on the floor and it feels like you could take your arm up and over, or you want to take different leverage, feel free. Sometimes more front facing towards the earth with your chest will change the action. More twisted to the right. Breathe. Always we're practicing kindness, which can be most difficult to dole out towards ourselves. Remember that empathy is advantageous for you and necessary for you. Try to be as kind to yourself as you can. Release your right hand to the earth if you moved it, and inhale your left arm out and then up. And exhale it to the earth. Inhale your right arm up. And exhale, thread the needle under and behind. Continue to consider again and again, right, like a meditation tactic, that you're boomeranging your awareness back. That it's okay for you to think about the past or the future, for you to create narrative or get stuck in a rut. It's okay for you to be list making or thinking about your next thing. But once you realize that, mindfulness is just the drawing ourselves back to the breath and the awareness, the intention of kindness and authenticity. Inhale, take your right arm out in the nut. And exhale to find the tabletop. Good. Inhale, curl your toes. Send your hips back towards child's pose. And lift your knees off the mat if you can. See if you can go all the way up to the downward facing dog pose. Tabletop is always a good alternative. Again, you can take your hands up a wall to do your downward facing dogs. Right, that's one other way to do the work. Sometimes hands up on blocks is a helpful additive. Experiment and seek not perfection so much as much sustainability as you can build over time. Inhale, bend your knees, lift your heart, maybe your gaze forward, and exhale, walk your feet up to your hands and hang forward fold like a teddy bear falling off a shelf. You might grab for opposite elbow. Try to really let the weight of your skull hang. Some people like to interweave their fingers at the base of their neck. Try not to pull on your head if you can avoid it. Next exhale or two, let your hands hang and dangle. Choose your feet for samasthiti. We're not there yet, but you might like your feet at hips distance, and now you're down here examining them. Some people prefer to have their big toe mounds together and their heels a bit separated. Some people like feet together. Sometimes it's really ergonomic and neutral for you to have your feet turned out or in when you're standing. So it's okay to sort of experiment with those edges, working always to balance against our own tendencies. Once you've made a choice, press into your heels, soften your knees, and take a few breaths to round yourself up to a standing position. When you get up there, you might take a few exhales to roll your shoulders down your back. We stand in samasthiti, which is a neutral posture. You can stand again with feet hips distance or together. Drop your shoulder blades down your back. And look at one spot or close your eyes. Maybe you can use your tongue to feel for the roof of your mouth. Notice that it's sort of like a domed ceiling. What would it be like to sort of balance that dome over your neck, over your hips, over your heels, the arches of your body stacking on top of each other like nesting bowls turned upside down? Breathing in the ujjayi form. This pose is neutral, but it's not nothing. As you press your feet down, your sternum, heart, the crown of your head, roof of your mouth will rise. Notice if you clench your shoulders or your butt cheeks or your hamstrings. Try to be intentional about being balanced, an economy of action. Right? Don't do any work you don't need to do. All right. Inhale, flutter your eyes open if they were closed, and exhale, tune into what's about you. Inhale slowly, take your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, the arms up pose. Exhale, cactus your arms, do a little back bend. Drop your tail, squeeze your butt muscles, your hamstrings, plug your heels down. You can look up or hang your head back if your neck allows. Inhale to reach up. And exhale your arms by your sides. Good. Inhale your arms up. Hands might be shoulder distance, or you might reach to touch your hands. And exhale, cactus your arms to backward bend. Pull your shoulder blades down your back. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward so you can bend your knees as you go. Stick out your tail. Hang your head as you dive down. Inhale, halfway lift. Again, this could be a knee bent position like cow pose. Stick out your tail, your heart. And exhale, forward fold. We're doing sun saluting with some extra steps. Inhale, take your arms out and up, reaching upward. Exhale, cactus your arms to backward bend. Inhale your arms straight up. And exhale your arms by your sides. All right, inhale your arms up. Exhale, cactus. Keep the strength in your belly. You might just keep the back bend in the heart, right? So the tail's a bit tucked. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, forward fold, however you wish. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, out and up, arms up pose, Urdhva Hasta Asana. Exhale, cactus the arms to backward bend. Inhale, your arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back, long low lunge. Inhale, unroll your heart. Exhale, step back and lower your knees. Inhale, like cow pose. Exhale, bend your elbows in and back. Offer your chest and chin towards the earth. They might come to touch. Inhale to push up. Exhale, downward dog. Big free inhale. Open mouth exhale. Take an inhale in. Lift your heels, come high on the balls of your feet, and exhale, bend your knees by a couple degrees. Notice that when you do this, your pelvis turns over the heads of your thigh bones, the tops of your legs. So again, inhale, straighten your legs, and notice that your pelvis turns the other way. Exhale, bend your knees. Right? It's almost like, right, if your tail had a flashlight, right, you'd see a point of light lift up and drop down. It can be a little funny, sometimes even traumatic to think about our pelvis. So if that's for you, feel free to just come into contact with colors and spaces around you to find a different way of thinking. But if you feel embodied in the pelvis, know you have a right to be there, right? And you can lift your tail with your knees bent. Take an inhale with your knees bent, and on your exhale, walk forward on your balls of feet, your tiptoes, until you can exhale into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale your arms all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, cactus the arms backward bending. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Samastiti. Find neutral for a moment. Anytime you return to neutral, you might notice what's different. Maybe nothing. I feel my heart moving, my breath moving already. This pretty plant near me is moving and jostling a little with the wind of my arms. You can take the time to notice those things, the simple things, right? We're just paying attention to how things are. And that is a wide spectrum of understanding. Inhale, take your arms up. Breathing, exhale, cactus arm back bend. Not what you're doing so much as how. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. Take an inhale. Exhale, step back and lower your knees. Inhale, cow shape. Exhale, lower chest and chin. Inhale, press up. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, tippy toes. Exhale, bend your knees a little. Inhale, gaze forward, and exhale. Tiptoe or walk up to the top of your mat to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. Use your middle back. Anchor your tail. Inhale, arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale. Your arms by your sides. Inhale, your arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, the cactus shape. which really we should find another name for perhaps. Inhale, arms up, reaching up, a gesture. Exhale, fold forward, a mudra, context, energetic idea. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and step your right foot back. Inhale, drop your right knee. Lift your heart. Now, if your knee needs to pad underneath your knee. I'm keeping my back toes curled so that my hamstring is engaged and my glute can press forward and down. Wrap your left hand around your left knee and inhale your right arm up. And every time that you exhale, you might press your hips more forward and reach your upper body more back. But it's not about getting deeper as much as finding more context where we can use more strength to create more relaxation. Good. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, plant your hands down. Now, you're going to come up onto the ball of your left foot, so that's lifting your left heel. Now, you might need your hands up on props or nearby furniture to do that. And I got my hand on this bookshelf here. And exhale to lower your heel down. I'm going to do just 2 more of those. Inhale, lift your left heel. Exhale to lower it 1 more time. Right? And I know that you may have heard that your heel can never be off the ground or your knee can never be past your ankle, but it is okay, right, in this range of motion, that you actually have the capacity to bend your knee this deeply, as long as you're being mindful about the way you're placing weight upon that shift. Take an exhale to release your hands down to the earth. Good. Curl your back toes under. Inhale, step back, plank pose. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana to the earth. Inhale, cobra. Lower the front body, slide forward, lift your heart, press your feet down, bhujangasana. Exhale, bring your chin or forehead down. Let's do it 2 more times. Some people like to lift their hands to float. Follow your breath. Inhales take us out and up. And exhales gather us down and in. Curl your toes from knees or toes. Inhale through plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. You can always keep your heels lifted and your knees bent in down dog so that you can flash your tail up and extend your spine. Even though we're flexing at the hips, it's a forward fold. We work against that. We counter by extending the spine instead of rounding it or flexing it, right, against that action. Even in that, you're still gathering your front ribs, your serratus anterior, your navel to your spine, opening your armpits, but only so much that you create balance, right, not extremity. All right, inhale, take your right leg up and back, a 1-footed dog. And exhale, slow. Bring your knee into your chest without bringing your shoulders forward yet over your wrists. You might tuck your chin and bring your forehead towards your knee. Inhale, reach your right leg straight back and maybe up. Exhale, draw your navel in to pull your knee towards your chest. Inhale, take your leg up and back. It's okay to have this work be with bent knees, and exhale. Pull it in. Keep it there for an inhale. Exhale, slide it forward. Just step your right foot between your hands. Go ahead and drop your left knee. Keep your toes curled. Again, create padding as you need to, right? There is no need to be tough, no need to suffer, right? Your knees are going to be with you for the rest of your life, so you might as well accommodate them now so that they're better allies then. Wrap your right hand around your right knee. Inhale your left arm up, and you might exhale by exhale, sink your hips forward as you draw your upper body back. My neck feels good with my chin up, looking back, but yours might not, so it is okay to do this kind of work with your chin a little tucked. Keep working your heart up towards your chin as you go. And take another inhale. And exhale to release, 2 hands down to frame the front foot or around on some furniture for arm support. You're going to lift your right heel, inhale. Exhale to lower it. Inhale to lift. And exhale to lower. 1 more time, inhaling. And exhaling. Release your hands down. Curl your back toes, lift your back knee. Inhale, gaze forward, prepare. Exhale, step your left foot up to meet your right foot and fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, out and up. Urdhva Hastasana. Strong legs. Plug your heels down as you reach your rib cage up. Exhale to cactus the arms. Broaden your collarbones from right to left as you go. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. We always come back to Samastitihi, to neutral. You're going to inhale your arms up. Exhale to cactus. You might even turn your palms up and flex your wrists. Inhale your arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back. Lower your left knee down. Inhale, twist to the right. Take your right arm up. Now, as you do this, actively use your adductors, your inner right thigh muscles, to pull your knee and your shoulder towards one another, right knee, left shoulder. You might walk your hand in and rotate. You might even sort of roll your rib cage over your thigh. You can kind of hang back. If you'd like to turn it out more, now after a few breaths, you might rotate your right thigh bone out, rotate your right shoulder away from it as you twist, and bend your back knee. Now, I can reach my foot, knee feels pretty good, but there was a time in my life when I couldn't. Encourage you, if you're wearing pants, you might start with the pant leg action, the curled toe action. Just lift here enough that you feel your hamstring, the back of that left leg turn on. Keep your right heel rooted. Whether or not you reach the foot to pull is less pertinent than starting the range of motion and the strength in the back of your leg. In fact, if you've got a hold of your foot, kick into your hand until you start to feel your hamstring, your glute, your quad turn on. And one more inhale. Let's exhale to release. 2 hands down to frame your right foot. Good. Curl your right toes under and lift your right knee up. We're going to inhale to step back. Exhale, knees to the mat, chest to the mat, perhaps chin to the mat. Inhale, Bhujangasana Cobra, slide forward, push down through your hips to lift up through your heart. Exhale to bring your upper body down and curl your toes. Inhale through plank or table. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale to take your left leg up and back. Think about if someone was pulling on your ankle, as it were, like your thigh bone could come out of your hip socket as you go. It won't. Exhale your knee to your nose. Keep the down dog shape in your shoulders. This can be really challenging. And if it is for you, high on the ball of your standing foot and bend your standing right knee. Good, inhale. Take your left leg high. Exhale. Draw it in. One more time. Inhale, take it up. Exhale, left knee to chest. Keep it there. Take an inhale. Slide forward. Exhale to step. Your left foot between your hands. Drop your right knee. Attend to it as needed. You might walk your right hand in. Also be up on a prop or even right on your actual leg. We're going to twist to the left. Inhale. Start to take your left arm up. I want to encourage you as much as you can not to shy away from awkwardness. Often awkwardness is sort of a sign of change. If we think about, we see awkwardness in nature, it's usually something that's working its own sort of kinks out. It's finding its way. And that's a little different than having an external system of grace put upon you, or you have to learn some sort of methodology that is deemed graceful, as opposed to letting an internal sense of grace come forth and be refined through repetitive action, awareness, attention. And of course, good teacher, good system or two applied to that is worthwhile, but we don't want to stamp out what is intuitive, instinctual. Good. If you haven't already, you could turn your left foot out and you could bend your back knee. And again, the work here is to get the hamstring and the quad to turn on. Right? When we're bending our knee, the hamstring is what's closing the joint, as it were. If you kick into your hand, you start to turn on your quadricep, you create reciprocal inhibition. The two muscles work together and against one another to create stability. All right, that's enough anatomy about that, I think. On your next exhale, release two hands down to frame your front foot. Curl your back toes under. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step up to fold at the top of your space. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, out and up, Urdhva Hastasana, reaching upward. Exhale, cactus your arms to backward bend. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, your arms come down and through. All right. I'm going to do this little round of things one more time, working your way up into Chaturanga Vinyasas. We'll do some Sun B action. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stand on your left foot. Inhale your right leg up and back, one-footed dog, standing L or split. A lot like one-footed dog, we lift the leg up and back. One-footed fold is the name of this pose, and your face towards your left leg. And exhale, step your right foot back, long, low lunge. Inhale, sink your hips, cow lunge. Exhale towards cat lunge, straightening both legs around your spine. Inhale, bend your front knee, and exhale, drop your back knee. All right, before we move on to other action, you can rise up onto your knee thigh. And again, you can use a hand on the knee, a hand on a wall nearby. You might use props. You can do it without. I would really suggest going nice and slow. All right, the lifting of the heel, as we did before, we're going to lift the toes. They probably won't lift quite as far. Inhaling, exhaling to set them back down. Inhale. While you do this, see if you can stay in your lunge. Notice if you're sort of coming in and out. Isolate in your ankle. One more inhale. And one more exhale. And plant your hands in. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Half split, half Hanuman. And hang your torso over your leg. And here, dig your heel down. Kick it forward as you breathe. Your knee can be as bent as you need to, but drive your thigh bone back into the socket of your hip. Use your right glute. Squeeze your right hip forward as your left hip goes back so that you can fold over your leg. And you're working your hamstring at as much neutral as possible without the leg turning or twisting. To send the action to a more open, plausibly space. Exhale to bend your left knee. Lift your right knee. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Bend your elbows lower halfway or all the way. Inhale to pull your heart through, knees lifted for up dog, or maybe your whole lower body is down and you're working cobra with strong legs. Exhale to downward facing dog. You might have to flip your feet over. Inhale, take your right leg up. One-footed dog action. Exhale, open your hip, bend your knee. Squeeze your right heel towards your right butt cheek. You can lift your left heel and bend your left knee a great deal to make space for this. Ooh, keep pushing through your hands. A little technical difficulty here, some microphone slippage, but you can keep doing what you're doing. Inhale, take your leg up and back. And exhale, bring your knee into your nose, step your foot forward. And if this doesn't work out, feel free to grab your foot and draw it right on up here. Take an inhale, come high on the ball of your back foot. Exhale, kick your heel back. Do that again. Inhale to come forward. Exhale to go back and down. Good. With all 10 toes facing forward, inhale to rise. You could climb up your leg or use a wall to a high lunge, asana. And a lot like that split you did on the other side. And drop your left hip forward and your right hip back. Plug your back heel down. Take your arms up, reaching up. You can cactus your arms in this kind of shape, especially if your neck or your shoulders start to feel like it's just all tension, reproduction. Good. Inhale. Exhale, 2 hands down to frame your right foot. Inhale, gaze forward, prepare. Exhale, step onto your right foot, and inhale, extend your left leg high, standing L or split. Good. Exhale, step it down. Inhale, halfway lift, unroll your heart. Exhale, fold. Inhale, out and up. Urdhva Hastasana, reaching upward. Exhale, cactus your arms to backward bend. Inhale, arms up, reaching up. And exhale, let your arms come down by your sides. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, backward bend. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stand on your right foot. Inhale your left leg up and back. Standing L, Ekapada Uttanasana, one-footed fold. Exhale, step your left foot back. Long, low lunge. And do a little inhale, cow lunge, sink your hips. Exhale, cat lunge, straightening. Good. Inhale. Pull your heart forward, and exhale, drop your back knee and attend as you need to. Rise up. Pick a spot. Inhale. Lift your toes. The ball of your foot, right? The whole thing's coming up. Might only be a little bit though. And exhale your heel down. Try to keep your hips low. Inhale. Work the front of your ankle. And exhale to drop it down one more time. Inhale. And exhale. Release your hands down to frame your front foot and straighten your leg, half split, half Hanuman. Flex your right ankle, fold forward over it. And again, I tend to twist and drop my hips over to left, so I tend to bring them back to center to try to find a balance of the force of action. And I'll lift my right hip up and drive it back from the ground beneath my right heel or Achilles tendon. Drive your left hip forward. And trying to find a stretch in the belly of the hamstring as opposed to down at the back of your knee or just up underneath the hip or the butt cheek. On your next exhale, bend your knee and plant your foot. Curl your back toes. Inhale, Dandasana, the staff or plank pose. And exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, forelimb staff. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, up dog, or an alternative. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog, ujjayi pranayama. In and out through your nose. And you're still doing it with kindness from the authentic perspective. Are you still prioritizing your breath? We're often so practiced in stress and trauma, in patriarchal mindsets, right, that it can be difficult. You need to mourn. Right? Don't let that mourning stop you from having agency, sovereignty, power. You have the ability to pay attention to your experience. and to collaborate with it. Inhale to take your left leg up and back. And exhale, open your hip, bend your knee, and actively move your heel towards your butt cheek. And let your leg turn out. You can bend your standing knee and lift your heel. You don't have to keep pressing through your arms and hanging your head. If this is a lot, you can always do it from tabletop with your right knee down or at a wall with your hands walked up it. Inhale, straighten and reach. Exhale, bring your knee toward your chest. Step all the way through. All 10 toes face forward. You might be quite high on the ball mound of your back foot. Notice if your foot kind of wants to turn out onto the pinky side edge. Slowly from the ground beneath your left heel, rise up. You might climb up on your arms. Sometimes we need more space, right? If you feel like your heel is going way back and down, you might be able to lunge more, just like you are splitting. Drop your left hip down and back. Use your hamstring. Squeeze your right hip to send your pelvis into relative neutral. Remember, it's a bowl, it's never a square. You could reach your arms up or cactus them back. Use an exhale to release your hands to frame your front foot. Take an inhale to gaze forward. Exhale, transfer the weight into your left foot. Inhale to kick the sky with your right leg. Utkatasana. Exhale your right foot down to meet your left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale to cactus your arms. Inhale, arms up. And exhale. Samastiti. Nice. So we're going to work into some squats and doing some lunges. A lot of this transitional stuff is about using your knee. We'll do some deep knee folding, which you might skip depending on what's going on with your knees, and a little bit later. But as we move through these squats and lunges, take the time to notice what's happening with your ankles and your hips so that you can position your knees. All right. Sun bee in a form. Take an inhale. And exhale, bend your knees, sink your hips for Utkatasana. Now you could do this with your feet hips distance or together. It's okay to let your knees turn out a little bit. Same with your sitting bones. Bend your knees and rock your weight back. Now as you do this, you might bring your hands to your hips and see if you can lean your weight into your heels so far it feels like you're going to fall down backwards, but don't. And then lean your weight so far forward into your toes it feels like you're going to fall forward, but don't. And then go back and forth, and try to keep your squat. Go slow enough that you don't knock yourself off balance like me. And breathe. Notice if you're so low, your knees are already feeling tender. You might lift up out of the lunge, still strong in the hamstring, the glute. As you do this shifting, don't shift so far forward that you put yourself in peril, etc. But notice the edges. See if you can kind of minimize the rocking until you slow down and stop somewhere in sama and same in between the two. Take your arms out or up. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga of your choice. You could step or float back to lower halfway or all the way. Inhale to upward dog or the cobra pose. Exhale back to downward dog. Take a big free inhale. And without lifting your leg up and back, exhale, bring your knee towards your chest and try to step your right foot forward between your hands. We're going to keep a pretty short stance, so 4 to 6 inches at least behind your hands, your right foot. Spin your back heel down. And inhale to rise up to a short warrior one. You might have an easier time balancing your pelvis right to left, up to down. Settle your hips down, soften your toes, plug into your heels. Draw the floor of your pelvis up and your navel in. Inhale to reach your arms up. Exhale. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take a big free inhale. Exhale your navel to your spine, your knee to your chest. Step it forward into a short stance. Spin your back heel down. You can also take your back foot and step it out to the right, especially if you feel like that lets you turn out more. Make sure there's no peril in your inner knee in these actions. Inhale to rise up. Virabhadra, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Step it back to lower. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Now in short stances, we do have to be mindful with our knees. Make sure you're stable and strong. Next time around, we'll take a longer stance so you can adjudicate what's best for you. Maybe a combo, someplace in between. Exhale, step or float forward. Arrive on your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees. Sink your hips back, maybe down. And inhale, reach your arms forward, out or up. Still inhaling. Stand up by pressing your heels down, straightening your legs. And exhale. Samastiti. Take a big free inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, Utkatasana, fierce pose. Exhale, fold forward. Straighten your legs as you go. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And maybe still exhaling, step your right foot forward. Need an extra breath, take it. Draw it through. Now, I don't want to really gripe on things like habits. Often we do what we do because our body is how it is, and we're problem solving. There's really nothing wrong. There's no binary in the way we judge it. But what I see often is a desire not to step through directly. We get this instruction about stepping through, and we think, oh, if I go, I'll be able to leverage my leg through. The reason that you do that is because you're so strong in your hip and your hamstring that trying to get those muscles to relax enough for you to have the range to bring your foot through while being active in their counter muscles, your psoas and your belly, is really, really difficult. But the only way to retrain that from an active perspective is to do it actively, right, as opposed to the sweeping. So sweep if you like. That's a cool thing to learn and practice. But occasionally in your practice, it's good to also go inhale and exhale to step. This time, a nice long lunge. Spin your back heel down. Inhale, warrior one. Take your arms out or up. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Hands down to step back. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog, left foot. Back heel down, inhale to rise. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana means noble hero pose. That's the gesture, the attitude. Exhale, chaturanga dandasana. Step back to lower. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Breathe. And whatever creates dignity, stability, bravery, courage, safety, healing for you is the right answer, no matter what I have to say. Those priorities come first for things like how do we train the body most effectively, etc. Exhale, step or float forward. Arrive on your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale, Utkatasana. Still inhaling, rise. Exhale, Samastiti. Let's do one more. Take a big free inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, hips low. Doesn't have to be so low that you're in peril, but hips back. Inhale your arms up. Your heels and your tail down. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, chaturanga, dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog, right foot. Now, if your back heel is in parallel, your back knee feels twisted when you have your heel down in warrior one. Do this instead. Your back heel lifted. Do the high crescent lunge. And otherwise, try to keep your front knee moving forward. Right? Inhale to rise up. Exhale, chaturanga, dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog, left foot. Inhale, rise. Warrior one. Keep moving your left knee forward, plugging your right heel back, moving the two things away from one another. Exhale, chaturanga, dandasana. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. In down dog, you might take a peek at your knees, especially if you're one of my friends who's straightening your legs and plugging your heels down. You might lift up on your inner thighs, your quads. Even if you don't need to, keep your legs straight. Play around with turning out your thighs and turning them in actively against one another until your legs are just at neutral. Same thing with pressing your legs out and away from one another or pulling them in. You might practice Uddiyana Bandha, your navel to your spine. Exhale, step or float forward. Arrive on your feet. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and bend your knees. Inhale, fierce pose, Utkatasana. Then your exhale, bring your hands back by your sides like airplane wings. Good, and then lift your right heel up and put it down. Inhale, lift your left heel up and put it down. And interweave your fingers if you wish instead, pulling your heart up, or grab a strap between your hands for leverage. Continue with this little do-si-do. And the next time that you feel stable, maybe you lift both heels up and put both heels down. Now this can easily be done at a wall with your hands against it. All right, having said that, next time your heels are down, inhale, straighten your legs, and exhale, release your arms down by your sides. All right, bring your weight into your left foot and inhale to step your right foot out and back behind you until you're in a pretty wide stance. Hands on your hips, bring your heels in and your toes out, sink your hips into goddess, sometimes called horse. Right, this sort of martial arts stance is low so that we can, use the upper body, but we also turn this shape, right, to kick and land in our warrior pose again, right? So we have a little bit of context for the shape of each bent knee, like our warrior postures, like warrior one. As you sink your hips low, lift your heart. You can add bounces, bending and straightening your knees just a little bit, if it feels safe for you. And also try lifting the heel of one leg, of the other. And we're going to rock from side to side. And this is that sort of moment where I say, okay, we've been really specific. We're going to be a little more creative. So you could take your arms out or up. You could straighten and bend. You could hop if you've got really happy knees and ankles and you like doing that kind of thing. Ballet dancers sometimes have the ability to take off, right? That kind of thing. You could sit lower and stay low. I'm going to breathe for 10 breaths. I'll count. If you know other postures or movements, you're welcome to wiggle in a different way, or to follow my wiggles. just to dance around on your mat for a few breaths. Consider freeing yourself, even just for the sake of some stupid yoga class exercise that I'm presenting, right? You can blame the silliness on me. That cultivates freedom for you. All right, we're going to work our way back together and meet in warrior two to the right. Turn your right toes out and bend your right knee. Here we want to sit low enough that the quad and the hamstring are working. Squeeze your glute. Let your right thigh bone turn out. It's okay to let your left hip turn in a little. Really both are kind of turning out. Plug your back heel down. You can play around with the angle of your back knee. Reach through your arms. Feel free to flip your palms up and bend your elbows towards your waist. All right. Inhale, straighten your right leg. We're going to go all the way to our back foot by turning the right toes in, the left toes out, bending the left knee to come down. Right, Skandasana. Right, then I roll my toes up to the ceiling. Right, heels on the mat. You might be higher. Your heel might be lifted. You might be up here in this action. That's okay. You can always use a wall for support with your hands, whatever is nearby. If you're down low and it feels good, you might take your hands off the ground. You might notice what it's like to sink all the way down into compression, to be up a little ways. Good. Inhale to come up. Exhale, wide-footed forward fold, straightening your legs. Place your hands on the mat, fingers about in line with toes or under your shoulders. Inhale, unroll, and exhale, fold and breathe. You're always welcome to put your hands up on props. Or again, to use a wall. You don't have to go all the way over. Going 2 inches into a forward fold is equally as valid, sometimes more difficult, different perspective. In fact, let's all inhale to halfway lift. Take an exhale to bring your hands onto your hips. Now notice, right, do you have to rock your weight back and stick your tail more out? Do you have to bend your knees a little? Maybe you have to be up a little bit higher. Take an inhale here and an exhale. Inhale to stand all the way up. And exhale, warrior two to the left. Bend your left knee and sink your hips low. Again, you can set it up. We're often different in our joints from side to side, so it's not about creating the same pose on each side or symmetry, but balance between the points of contact with the earth. Plug your heels down. You might try lifting the ball of your left foot off the mat to make sure you're not gripping it. You're always welcome to flip your palms up and bring your elbows in. Inhale, straighten your left leg, turn it in. We're going to go all the way down to Skandasana to the right. I'm going to use my hands, turn my left heel up. This is not a super comfortable posture for a lot of people, and it's deep flexion. So if that's not possible for you, you might modify to do a warrior two whenever this type of low squat is asked for. Inhale to come up and through. Exhale, the wide-footed forward fold. This time, you're welcome to grab a hold of your big toes with your peace sign fingers and pull yourself down. Keep your hamstrings contracted, your heels plugging down, so that it's your spine that's being pulled down more and more, as opposed to just your hamstrings getting tugged on at the insertions more and more. Knees can be bent, but they're straightening, active, buoyant. Good. Inhale to unroll. Exhale your hands to your hips. Inhale to stand up, soften your knees. Exhale, step up to the top. Samastitihi. Once more. Good. Inhale, take your arms up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Bend your knees. Bring your hands to heart center. I'm doing this with my feet hips distance. I'm also going to turn to the side just so it's nice and visible, like getting lower, as it were, towards the ground. Right, I'm sinking my hips low. Eventually, I'm trying to come to the point where my knees and my hips are parallel. If that's a new bit of strengthening for you, come to a wall, right? See if you can keep your heart forward, unlike those sort of gym class moments where we go up and back. Right? See if you can go forward and down. And you can stay here for a moment, take your arms out, palms up, or you can cactus your arms in this shape as well. Create that strength in the middle back. And we'll find a forward fold, straighten your legs all the way. Hang your head. If you have hypermobility and your knees lock backwards, try to resist going all the way to that point. Instead, find active straightening, which means for you contracting your hamstring and the back of your knee muscles a little bit so that you have structure. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, Utkatasana, hips down. Inhale, arms up or out or cactus. Take another big free inhale. Exhale, sink your hips down. This time, try to go 2 inches lower, right, than your knees. And again, I'm going to use the wall for that one too. That one, you might take your arms straight forward, bring your heart up, your gaze up. Take a few inhales. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, Utkatasana, bend your knees, sink your hips. Inhale your heart up. Exhale, settle low. Take another inhale and exhale. Try to squat all the way down. And again, you can use the wall or you can sit up on something. You can also lift your heels or roll your mat up for your heels to rest up on if lifting your heels feels good for you. A lot of us will feel like it's really hard to do anything but round because that's what our pelvis is doing. And try to slide your rib cage up your front legs. You can wrap your arms around your knees, pull your shoulder blades down and your heart up. And also take your arms out or up. Take a big free inhale. And exhale, sit down. So you might need your hands to do that. You might be able to kind of rock back on your knees. Take your legs out long, give them some relief in front of you, and pull the goodness back and out from underneath you. Good. Inhale to reach for your feet. Unroll your heart and exhale to fold. You can always do this passively, hang over your legs. You're doing it actively, kick through your feet so that they're an active source energetically for you to pull on. And slowly round yourself up. Bend your knees, plant the soles of your feet, your hands behind you, reverse table. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, settle your hips down. Hang your right ankle over your left knee. You might have to walk your foot out to make space for that. Inhale, table. Lift your heart up. Drop your right knee down. Exhale, sink your hips. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. And exhale. It's okay to hang your head back if that feels good for you. Release your right leg long for a moment. Pull your left knee in. Inhale to reach your right arm up and exhale to come down in front of and inside your left leg. This is Vinyasa. You can push your knee into your shoulder, plug your heel down. You're welcome to keep your arms out in this way. You could also reach around to grab a hold of a t-shirt or your pants or your hand behind your back and fold forward over your leg. Good. Inhale, lift your heart up. Exhale, release the grip. Take both legs out long again. Inhale to reach your arms up. And exhale to fold forward. You could also inhale to unroll and exhale to pull down. One of the ways that you can work on this activate through your legs and knees is to do it at the wall, to bring the soles of your feet, your heels straight up, and to kick through your heels so that if you're holding with your hands, right, you know that your feet have to make contact. Right? That way, as you pull down, you're still driving yourself towards the wall with your hands and with your feet. Neat. Anyways, inhale to unroll and exhale. Release your hands behind you, bend your knees, plant the soles of your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up, reverse table, perhaps Purvottanasana, the inclined plank if you prefer. Exhale to lower down. And your left ankle over your right knee, figure four style. Inhale, lift your hips up. Exhale to lower. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale. Squeeze your glutes, press your hips up, drop your left knee down, and exhale. 1 more time. Release your left leg long and slide your right foot back for Asana. Inhale to reach up and forward and out. Try to bring your knee behind your arm or your shoulder and squeeze it there, pinch it in. You're welcome to reach around for something behind your back as you fold forward, breath by breath, over your left leg. Keep your left leg awake, right? Just like when you were kicking your heel into the wall a moment ago. Right? Same idea of activity. And that's not an aesthetic, right? It's so you can balance your hips equally from side to side in an unequal or asymmetrical posture. Inhale, unroll your heart like a halfway lift, and exhale, release it. Take both legs out long. Good. Inhale to reach for a grip or the sky, and exhale to fold over your legs one last time. And slowly roll yourself up. Bend your knees and plant the soles of your feet. Use your hands to pick yourself up. Walk yourself forward and over and back up a little until you're on the balls of your feet, perched. If you do have a lot of deep folding knee issues, but want to try this kind of thing, you can roll up a thin towel, etc., and put it all the way in the back creases of your knees, and that might give you a little bit of support. It's also okay just to skip it, right? You can turn off this video, end with a different one if you'd like. Find something else to do at that time in the way that you wish. I'm balancing here on the balls of my feet. A lot of us will need our hands on props or on a wall to find this position, and that might be you. You can also do it at the wall. And please consider the wall is maybe just there in case you fall backwards. You might just be an inch or two right forward from it, right? There we go. Your knees can be together or apart. Your feet can be together or apart as long as your knees feel pretty balanced. Right, if you start to feel balanced enough, you might sit upright, put your hands on your knees. Sometimes this is called toe stand. You take your arms straight up or out. You could also lift your hips an inch over your heels, right, as opposed to sitting straight down on them. If you feel really desirous of knee work, you might do gentle, very slow pulses at that place, like a Kundalini Kriya. Slowly, we're going to release the knees to the earth. See if you can maybe do it without your hands. Of course, if it's going to be a banger, take your time to use your hands. We're trying to slowly come forward and down. Bring the tops of your feet down. It should feel like a relief. Sink your hips to your heels. If this kind of work is a lot of bend on your knees already, you could sit with a prop, a block, a lift between your knees up on a stool. You'd also alternate to using a wall nearby. My foot is the only thing on the wall in this case, so my ankle gets to stretch. I'm far enough away. My opposite knee on the ground, or you could have your foot on the ground if that feels better. Some people will go quite close and work the fold this way, and sometimes that can be helpful if coming to the ground is not for you. If you have the space in your knees, widen your feet and settle your hips down between Virasana. Now you could stay up, go down and back onto your back. If you do have issues with one knee and not the other, you can also do this with one leg. You could do the wall exercise for the opposite therapeutically and balance out here. Sometimes also the edge of a bed, right? You put the folded knee up on the edge of the bed and put your standing leg on the ground. All right, those are all the ways you might experiment with this. And if you're going down and back, looks like this. If you plan on doing one side and then doing the other side, make sure that you hold a little time for that. You might even already be transitioning to the second side at this point. And slowly roll your way up. We're going to come forward to hands and knees. Stretch the legs out and come all the way down onto the front seam of your body. We're going to do a little bit of bow pose. Bend your left knee. Let's start there and grab your foot. I'm grabbing my foot from the outside with the thumb down. Then I'm going to come up onto my right hand. Sometimes that makes it a little easier on the right forearm, like Sphinx pose. And also stay low if you like. From here, you can kick. See if you can kick your leg up off the ground. Notice if you want to topple over to the right or to the left, you might kind of position your right forearm in any way that helps you stay upright. Tuck your tail, draw the floor of your pelvis up and your navel in as you do this, and kick. Notice my left knee wants to go out to the left, so I'll do a little work to try to bring myself to center, but not too much. It's okay for your legs to turn out. Take another inhale, and slowly lower your knee. Release your leg. Bend your right knee, reach back for the outside of your foot. See if you can lift yourself up, lift your leg up off the ground and kick. Right, the leg up off the ground thing might be a little bit difficult. It's okay if it's not fully successful, but think about it. You got to squeeze your glute. Do any balancing that you can. Kick the top of your left leg down, your left hip down. And slowly knee down and then release. Come down, cross opposite hand to opposite elbow, bring your forehead towards that, or you can bring your forehead all the way down. Straighten out your left leg, inhale to lift it up. Now notice I'm not bending my knee, and you could if you need to, and try to straighten your leg even if you don't lift it that high. Imagine like a putt-putt golf ball underneath the very top of your left hip or leg, right, so that you got to lift it. And exhale to lower it down. Inhale to lift your right leg up. Straighten it out. Just like you did in one-footed dog, you might reach back like you're trying to pull your leg out of your hip. And you're trying to touch a button with your big toe behind you. Exhale to lower it. You're welcome to inhale to try and lift both legs. Notice if your legs turn out, spread wide, you might gather them towards the center. And then exhale to lower. Bow pose, bend your knees, reach back to the outsides of each foot. And before you begin to kick up, like we did in the last one-sided iterations, flex your ankles, hold your ankles, and kick straight back. Try to keep your knees on the ground. You might not lift very high. You're pressing your knees down like you're trying to straighten your legs without lifting them. Point your toes and inhale to kick straight up. Let your knees lift. Continue to kick back even as you kick up. Roll forward towards the soft portion of your belly, off your hips and ribs. Exhale slowly to come down. You can bring one ear or the other to the mat. I'm going to take the left arm out long, roll over to the left, use your right hand to roll yourself onto your back, and then use your wiggling skills to get back onto your yoga mat if you need to. Bend your knees and slowly drop the knees over to the right and left, windshield wipering, some twisting. When you feel like you've done enough of that, you can drop your knees all the way over to the left. You might stack them, take your right arm out to the right. You could also wrap them up like eagle. Inhale your knees back up through center. Exhale them over to the right, twisting the opposite way. Take your left arm out to the left. You don't need to look that way, especially if you feel occlusion in your neck or you feel like nerve pain or numbness. You might just look upright. Most of the benefit of twisting happens lower in the spine than the neck. And slowly bring your legs back into center. Hug your knees into your chest. If a lot of flexion is hard on your knees, you might go behind your knees so they can only fold so far. If you do that, you might practice squeezing your wrists a couple of times at the backs of your legs. You can stay here, head to happy baby, and grab the insides or outsides of your feet and bend your knees. You can also grab the backs of your knees. That's a different way to go. Some folks will wrap sort of like a strap around both feet or a towel and be able to pull down and hold the inside or the outside edge. And happy baby is a good time to remember that you were once a baby and you can rock around. You still, in some ways, will always be one. You can go from side to side, stick out your tongue. Every once in a while, it's like, I'm too serious for this. And it's like, if that's you, I've been there. It's okay not to do it. Take your legs up the wall, lay down. Remember that not every day is the day for silliness, but that if we're experiencing the broad spectrum of nature in this lifetime, right, we will be silly and there will be tragedy. Right? We will be joyful and there will be difficulty. Right? And the ask is really be able to continue to be ourselves, to be kind and authentic no matter what, and to be with what is. And you're welcome to continue to play, to rock. If you want to go up and over into plow or shoulder stand, feel free. And we'll slowly work our way to rest. So you're welcome to do any other finishing postures or practices, or you might need to pause the video and do 5 back bends or an inversion. You might need to pause the video and sit in meditation for 20 minutes, or do the physical therapy exercise that you know you need to do, etc. Right, if you're working in the timeline with me, working your way towards any form of rest that makes sense for you, I'm going to use the wall since I live in a yurt usually and so don't have a wall. So this is a great opportunity for me to exercise with one. And take your legs up the wall. And this is not for everyone. Sometimes blood flow or circulation gets us and this doesn't feel so good. You can also do it with your knees bent and the soles of your feet at the wall, with your knees into your chest and the soles of your feet at the wall. You can let your knees go wide, Baddha Konasana style, or let your legs go all the way wide. I don't have quite enough space here to show, but that idea. And also strap up your legs so they have some support. Put a sandbag on the soles of your feet so you have some heaviness. Another good tip is to stack a block or a couple pillows underneath your hips right up against the wall so that you have some support. And take your arms by your sides or out and up. You're welcome to rest in your back, your side, your belly as an alternative. You could go to any couch or bed or prop that feels good to lay upon. You could cozy yourself up in blankets. You could move pets around, etc. We'll meet eventually in this integrative rest. And I do suggest, since this is a video resource, if you have more time to rest, then you might just like turn my voice off, right? Turn off the video and then let yourself slowly emerge whenever you actually do feel ready, or even if you kind of doze off for a while or sort of creep off into other sleep states, etc. Otherwise, we'll rest for a few minutes and I'll call you up and out When it's time to return to action, you might close your eyes, let them look at one spot that isn't super important and is not moving. Find a place to rest your hands that's relatively neutral, that won't draw unnecessary attention to them. Soften your face and let go of any breath practice, even ujjayi pranayama. Let it soften down into normative, kind, involuntary breathing. When the time comes to change or shift, I'll call you up and out. Until then, pay attention to how things really are. Sahana vavatu, sahano bunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvi navaditamastu, mavit vashavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you're lying in rest or sitting in integration or meditation practice and wish to remain as such, do as long as you'd like. The time has come to return. Go slowly to your breath. Let it deepen and rise just a little bit, enough to sort of blow the cobwebs out of the edges of your experience. Allow you to very gently wake up again. You do subtle movements like wiggling your fingers and running your tongue over your mouth surfaces, scrunching and spreading your face, gently addressing ankles, wrists. If your legs are up the wall, you might stretch your arms up before gathering your knees into your chest. Same thing if you're on the back, and then roll off onto your favorite side, curled up for a few minutes. Let your head rest on an arm or a hand or the earth. And as you do this work, I offer that we close this practice always by just taking the time for perspective. That's why I do these closing chants, is because they almost all refer to the cosmic perspective of things, right? That it's not just you and your individual experience in this lifetime, but you and your individual experience in this lifetime being a resonant sort of manifestation of all things, of everything. Your ability to pay attention to this cosmic level of things as part of your everyday experience, right? The stars in the sky have to exist for you to do this yoga practice, right? The planet had to cool. You had to have the Big Bang. Your ancestors had to ancestrate, as it were. Those who discovered meditation, yoga, Buddhism, right, through paying attention had to do it and write about it and pass it on. We practice being aware of our privileges as well as our oppressions that bring us to practice, being aware of the systems of patriarchy, violence, racism, etc. in our world, right, that moves us away from this sense of being part of everything. We take the time to acknowledge, right, where we are in the position of all things, good and bad, up and down, and realize really that always the in-between is everywhere. And so I offer that to you, that you consider wherever you are, that right, there's always a way to change it. There's always going to be some sort of sense, right, of something new, right? There's possibility, right, even if it doesn't seem that way. And that this is kindness and authenticity, right? To remember that you have the power to have this experience, and that however you have it, right, is both important in the cosmic sense and just another part of everything. All right, I've expounded enough. If you're up at sitting, we seal our practice with that mudra of non-dualism, the meeting place between seemingly disparate forces like right and left, sun and moon, beginning and end, have a meeting place on the field of everything where we realize that they are one, that the delusion is our separateness. You can hold that idea in your mind if this gesture is not for you, the Anjali gesture, Anjane point of view, Anjali mudra. And bring your thumbs to your third eye, acknowledging, bowing to your practice, sealing your work. Thank you for being here, for being a part of this, right? There's like 70 some videos here. I feel really privileged to get to be a part of your practice if you're still practicing, especially if we knew each other in real life at some point in time. Know that it really heartens me to know that you're doing your yoga practice. I hope you're going into rooms with other teachers and things like that, but that you have this resource here for you to learn at home whenever you want. Please feel free to use the resource as you wish. Turn it off, turn it on. Do the 10 minutes that you like from that video for 2 years ago. That's totally fine. All the revenue for these classes, 50% of it goes to the Marsha P. Johnson Institute. I'm going to trip over my tongue for a minute here. If you have any questions about what I offer or what's going on, or with the Practice School of Liberation, please feel free to reach out. The website is both Alyssa Yeagley Yoga right now and the Practice School of Liberation, and there is information about how to contact me, usually there and here in the write-up of these videos. Thank you so much for doing the work, for forgiving me for my humanity, for allowing me to be a part of it. I hope that the sun shines on your face, that you're enjoying whatever season and time that you're in, and hopefully we will get to practice again together sometime soon. Thank you.